quick. I'll just go live on YouTube on my phone, I guess, or on TikTok. Hi, Juju.
Hello, Juju, Amanda, Stacy. Hello, everyone.
Man, oh man. Hi, Andrea. I'm good. How are you guys? Was I number 3? How Canadian? I don't know what that means. Hi, Common Journey. Hello, Bling Girl. We're about to start our live. We're streaming live on YouTube and TikTok. If you don't mind, please like the live. Get some engagement going. Get some people in here. We can get started. Hi, Tabitha. Hi, Luis. Hello, Aurora. Karen, Gerald. How are you guys doing? Common Journey. Chuck, how are you doing, Chuck? Do you want to up on TikTok, Jill? Can you do that? I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I just...
They probably hear me talking twice.
You're
They
right.
hear me?
I doubt it. Not if you're just in the chat. Hi, Monkey Brains. Is Monkey Brains Monkey Boots? No.
I think so.
Jerome in Seattle, how are you? So today's Good Friday, isn't it? We think. I I think it's Good Friday. Is today Good Friday? It seems like it might be. The stock
Yes,
market's closed.
it is. Now that I know. Yeah, it is.
Happy Zombie Creation Day. Yes. Smack that like. Smack that.
Go to YouTube? I can't even write today.
Don't forget Monday, same time, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. I'll be interviewing Tennessee Brando. I actually have... schedule is filling up next week.
I'm 2 thumbs down.
You're 2 thumbs down?
Yes,
What does that mean?
I'm 2 thumbs down. It means I suck.
Oh man, bummer.
I know, right? So we do have some nice weather here today. It's 82.
It's pretty nice here too. Pretty nice here. Thank you for liking the live, Tabitha. I appreciate that.
I can't afford eggs, especially in Pennsylvania. We fight over in the streets over them.
You fight in the streets?
So there's this ongoing joke that me and Pete have. Well, everybody, but knows about it. But there was this Trumper in a live, and she was like from Pennsylvania, and she was saying things like, "We're fighting in the streets over eggs." This was during Biden's presidency. They're so expensive. We're fighting in the streets, literally. And I was like, "Wow!" Like I didn't even know it. So now,
Man, thank you for joining our live from Europe on vacation. Wow.
right.
So I want to talk a little bit about bringing manufacturing back to the United States. Jill, what do you think is the first thing we would have to fix to bring manufacturing back to the United States?
The first thing we would have to fix,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, and so to me the answer is not an answer that anyone's going to give. So I think the first thing you have to fix to bring manufacturing back to the United States is healthcare. And one of the biggest costs for businesses in the United States is healthcare for their employees. As a small business owner, I feel this every day, right? So for me at my house, it costs us $2,000 a month for health insurance. So my health insurance for me and my wife and one child, we're all healthy, no smokers, like we're all pretty healthy people. $2,000 a month. That is more money than a lot of people in this country earn in a month. Okay. And so the insurance and benefits is a huge cost of manufacturing in the United States. So for a manufacturer to come back to this country, you're looking at millions of dollars a month in just that, and just insuring your employees, right? So here's the thing, right? The rich stood up the fast food industry in the United States. Um, think about this. Before the fast food industry in the United States was huge, and I'm not saying there's a direct correlation here, but before McDonald's was huge and Wendy's was huge and Taco Bell, before all that was huge, we had a ton of manufacturing in the United States. Manufacturing went away as fast food industry came in. So the billionaires built up the fast food industry. They made us all sick. They made us all sick with their fast food that they pushed on us because there's 3 fast food places on every corner. And then they took all the billions of dollars they made on fast food and they invested that into healthcare so they could make billions more dollars treating our sickness that they sold us, right? And then they had to leave the country because they could no longer afford to provide us with the health care that we need because we're so sick and because it's so expensive. So they moved to China and Taiwan and elsewhere. The point of this whole discussion is that to bring manufacturing back to the United States requires a holistic change of the way we do everything in this country. A tariff is not going to bring a manufacturer back when they can't afford to pay the people. They can't afford to insure the people. They can't afford the property taxes. Because you come to the United States, you spend 10 times more money to manufacture the same product, but you have to sell it for the same price because Americans can't afford products made in the United States because they're not paid living wages. All of this goes back to the elite, to the rich, right? They have destroyed the middle class to a point in this country where they can no longer even manufacture here because we can't afford to purchase their goods. We're spending all of our money on health insurance. We have to have cheap stuff to survive. It's not that anybody wants cheap stuff. At this point, we have to have it to survive. So the idea that just putting a tariff on a country, and by the way, even with a 200% tariff on China, the product from China is still going to be cheaper than if it was made in the United States. Even if you add the 200%, it's still cheaper, right? And this is my whole point, is a tariff is not going to bring anybody back if you don't address the health of Americans, the health insurance cost of Americans, the wages of Americans, taxes, all these things. A complete top to bottom overhaul of the entire system of the United States is going to have to occur for any manufacturers to come back. That's just how it is. There's no tariff. No tariff is going to fix anything. And to think it is absolutely ridiculous. What do you think, Jill?
So yeah, I completely agree with you. Oh shit, I backed out of the TikTok live. Um, I was thinking, wages as well. Like the wages here are not enough. Minimum wage is too low. 7.25.
So the reason I didn't bring up wages, and wages are a huge piece of it. They absolutely are. Um, but the wages are too low. They can't afford to pay the wages we need, but they can afford to pay the wages they currently pay. They really can. If you opened up a factory somewhere and you offered people jobs for $12 an hour, they would come do it. They would. And they would be way underpaid, but they would come do it. Um, and in my business, it's not the wages, and we pay our people in my business an above average pay. We pay our people really well, but it's really hard to get a job at my company because um, you have to be really good to work for us. It's the insurance and benefits that just kill our company more than the wages, right? People can be productive enough to justify their wages. I don't know that they can be productive enough to justify their wages and the cost of the insurance and benefits because that is an enormous cost, especially for older people. And a lot of companies view that cost as something extra that's tacked on. But I do agree with the wages. You know, they would it would be better if they paid people a lot more, but they don't have to. A person in this country will take a $12 an hour job if they get health insurance with it, is what I'm saying. You hear stories all the time of people who take some job that they're way overqualified for, not making near as much money as they're worth, but they take the job because it has health insurance. You hear that story from people every day. Why are you doing this for a living? I needed the health insurance. That is a common answer as to why people, or maybe it's a second job. You know, why are you doing this second job? I needed health insurance. Health insurance is a huge cost. The benefits, it's just unbelievable cost to companies in the United States. And I don't think if you don't fix the healthcare problem in this country, then you never get a manufacturer back. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. Are you there, Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was looking to see if you got booted.
Nope, I didn't. I was just listening to you and agreeing.
Mark says, don't forget retirement, Social Security. Those are big in the heyday. Yeah, all of those things. And a lot of people don't realize that, those taxes that are held out of their check every week, that's only half the taxes that are paid. An employer is matching that. So when you get your paycheck, if there's $500 taken out of it for taxes, the employer is also paying $500.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that. That the employer is also paying income taxes on that employee, right? So the whole point is it is an entire, like, you have to change the entire system to get manufacturing back. It's not one thing. It's not a tax. It's not a tariff. That's stupid to think it is. It's unbelievably stupid. It shows that you don't have even a basic understanding of all of the things wrong with this country if you think a stupid tariff is going to cause a manufacturer to just jump ship and come back to the United States. It's not a thing.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Not a
There
chance.
are so many factors that keep them there. That's what the thing is. They don't understand that. Well, Trump don't understand that, and his little minions don't understand it.
And people talk about how the oil and gas industry is subsidized, how farmers and farming operations are subsidized. All of these industries in the United States are subsidized. The fact of the matter is, every single business and industry in this country is subsidized, right? Why do they do that? What's one of the reasons they do that? The government is using subsidies to try to help prop these industries up because they would literally go bankrupt trying to ensure their people have all the things that they need. They would. They would. You get $1 million in subsidies? Hey, that covers your benefits and insurance you pay for a year, right? Like it's unbelievable how expensive it is to operate a business in this country. It's insane. It's really insane. But a worker in China gets $500 a month. What does a factory worker in the United States get? 5,000, if that, right? 10 times. And then when you add the insurance and benefits that the employer has to pay, now you've gone from 10 times to what? 14, 15 times the cost for that one person?
Mm-hmm.
That's why manufacturers are going, right? But it's crazy because it's the same people. The same people that made the country sick, the same people that ruined healthcare, the same people that own the insurance companies. It's all the same people doing all of this stuff to us. They're not coming back. They're not. It's not a thing. There is no tariff that fixes any of those problems. There is no tariff.
Nope.
Yes, the refinery, the Valero refinery and I think I'm pronouncing it right when I say Benicia, may be closing. A lot of people disappointed in a couple of friends of mine today that reported that they're definitely closing when they have not said that. They may be closing or restructuring. They haven't decided yet. We have become a Walmart country. Yeah.
I was just going to read that comment. Yeah, we have.
We
But
we really are. It's why it's one of the reasons I don't go to Walmart. It's one of the reasons is because of the people that are in there walking around in their muumuus and pajamas and house shoes.
gosh,
What? They
so
are.
they do that in Oklahoma too.
They have no couth. They walk right in there with their fucking muumuu on. You know, just roll out of bed.
I'm gonna get me a moo so I can go to Walmart.
No, no.
I get a moo
I will
roll right
call.
on a bed and head over to Walmart.
I will call your husband and I'll say,
Yeah,
hey
he would
man,
do something about this.
I'll say, hey man, look, could you please do something? We can't have this.
He would say the same thing.
Yeah, they have no couth. And yeah, the fact that there's a website called People of Walmart that just makes fun of people that go to Walmart. That's all you need to know. Right? That's all you need to know.
I have a Walmart that's literally 3 minutes from me. So I do go to Walmart. And you're right. There's a lot of people in there that just don't care.
And, how much, I don't remember the number. It's billions. Billions of dollars a year in public assistance. Call it welfare, call it what you want. Going to full-time Walmart employees because they're so underpaid.
Yes.
Like we're literally paying Walmart's employees for them.
Yep.
That's another big problem I have with Walmart and the whole putting life insurance on the old people they hire thing. Yeah, that's not cool.
And they make it so that a lot them people have to shop there as well because the prices are lower than anywhere else. So a lot of people have to shop there because we don't get paid enough to shop anywhere else. It's true. Like they work there and they shop there.
So I don't have my glasses on, but I think the name is Garmin, and on TikTok says 6.2 billion annually is the number. 6.2 billion dollars. Um, Smarch says, "Wait, what?" I think that was to my comment about Walmart putting or life insurance on their old employees. Yeah, they did that for years. They would hire an 80-year-old person to be a door greeter. They would put life insurance on them, and Walmart would be the beneficiary. And the person didn't know, like the people didn't know this was happening. Walmart would have them sign a form, a piece of paper. The people didn't know what that piece of paper was. Walmart was putting life insurance on old people, so when they died, they could collect a life insurance policy on them, which basically paid, for the most part, their wages the whole time they worked there. So it's like free labor.
Yes.
They were using it as free labor. So putting life insurance on the elderly, and then when they die, collecting a check, which in
So
turn pays their salary for the couple of years they worked there, basically. That's what they were doing. They got
yes,
caught doing it.
yes. And there are like other businesses that learned off of them as well that started doing it, smaller businesses even. People who work in construction and stuff like that, dangerous jobs, they were doing it to them too. That started spreading. But you signed the paper.
Yeah, the people sign the paper because they don't know what it is. And, I'm sure there's maybe some people that knew what it was, but most of those people didn't have any idea that that was happening. And what I'd be curious to know is how much life insurance Walmart was paying for that person that would go to their family members or their beneficiaries. And, when so I'm a partner in a business, right? And I've done this a few times. When you're a partner in a business, if you have a few people get together and they invest money and they start a new business, it's pretty common for the business to hold a life insurance policy on each of the partners, right?
Mm-hmm.
If something happens to me, um, I'm a loss. I'm a big loss for that company as one of the owners and one of the partners. So that's not unusual at all. And everyone knows that it's happening and they understand why it needs to happen. Those are for partners, business owners. Um, it's different when you're a door greeter and you don't know what's happening. And you take out a $25,000 life insurance policy on a door greeter so you can collect a check when they die, and you hire them when they're 80 or 85 years old, knowing they could go any day.
Mm-hmm. Someone said Steel Mills did that. Yes, Steel Mills absolutely did do that. They absolutely took that policy out on their workers.
Yeah. Just shitty. It's just shitty. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Shitty, shitty,
Yeah.
shitty. Ugh. That's Walmart. 6.2 billion. Wow, that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
So we are paying 6.2 billion in basically wages for Walmart employees. I think it did stop, but it wouldn't shock me if it was still happening, honestly. I don't know 100% sure that it stopped, is what I'm saying. I think it did, but um, What's the truth about China importing oil from Canada? The truth is, China's been importing oil from Canada ever since they opened up the Trans Mountain Pipeline. The truth is, it has nothing to do with Mark Carney. These were agreements that were made a couple of years ago. People are trying to give Mark Carney credit for this and Canadian politics. I don't know why. Mark Carney didn't have anything to do with it. Really, the government, well, the government of Canada did have something to do with it in that they are the entity that completed the pipeline. So, however, all of that came about getting approved, right? Whether that was Trudeau or if it took a group of people. I'm not sure how that works in Canada with their style or form of government, but it is the government of Canada that put up the money, or the Canadian taxpayers, more accurately, that put up the money to complete that pipeline. And that's when those contracts were negotiated. And Canada is not sending China 90% of their oil. That's not a thing. It's about 2%. It's about 2%. Canada only produces about half as much oil as China imports. They couldn't. All these people are saying that Canada's now getting China 90% of their oil. No. They can't even get the story that was wrong the first time right. And now they're just getting more wrong as they go along.
They just keep getting more wrong.
Yeah, they just keep getting more wrong. And this is why I say it doesn't matter. It does not matter anymore if the media gets everything right or if they get everything wrong, because the people will always get it wrong. It's like that if you've ever done the team building exercises, or if you've ever done the thing where you put a line of people, you line people up, put 5 people in a line and have the first person in the line whisper something in the ear of the person to their right. And then that person whispers the same thing into the next person, and so on and so on. By the time you get to the end of the line, what the last person heard is completely inaccurate from what the first person said, because a message can't be delivered 5 times without it being altered dramatically. And when you think about it in those terms, it makes absolutely no difference if the media is wrong about everything. Because even if the media was 100% right, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth person that heard what the media said would get it wrong and repeat the misinformation. And I think that's the way the media looks at it. The media is like, it doesn't matter if we get it right. It makes no difference if we get it right. So let's sensationalize it as much as possible. Let's make it as hyperbolic as possible to just make sure as many people as possible hear it, because that's how we make money. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. It makes no difference if the media. It doesn't matter that Fox News lies. It doesn't. If Fox News, if everything they said was 100% true, all of the people that watch Fox News would still fuck it up and spread the wrong message and get it all wrong. That's what I'm saying.
It matters though, because
But it doesn't.
Who sits there
It doesn't.
with their but somebody who sits there with their television on 24/7 with Fox News only, nothing else, absolutely nothing, they're gonna hear just the lies.
Right. I get what you're saying, that it matters, because it matters to me, right? It matters to me. But once whatever is said gets out into the public space, it is no longer going to be accurate, is what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying too.
Now, it should matter to Fox. It should matter to MSNBC or CNN. It should matter to any media organization. It should matter to Midas Touch.
I agree.
But it doesn't matter to them. And what I've come to realize, it's taken me a while to realize this. What I've come to realize is they figured out a long time ago it doesn't matter what they say, because it's going to get changed on the route to wherever it's going.
Yeah, they already figured it out.
It's going to get changed.
Hi, Lori.
I'm not defending any news outlet for doing what they're doing. I'm saying it doesn't matter to what it doesn't change what the people in the United States believe, right? they're gonna once it hits social media, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's gonna get changed 20 times by other people, right? Um, I still wouldn't do that myself because I have at least an ounce of self-respect. You don't have to have a whole lot of self-respect to not lie to people.
Right.
You just need a little bit, right? You just need the smallest amount of self-respect to not be a pathological liar.
Just a little bit.
With gasoline being around $5 in California and Phillips 66 and Tesoro idling their California refineries, will gas go towards $7 or $8 a gallon? It could. It could. A lot of that will depend on what oil prices do moving forward. But the best way to describe what's going to happen in California is when oil prices are really high and gas prices are really high across the nation. What do you see? $7 gas in California when we have $5 gas average in the United States. Now, when you see $5 gas in the United States, you're going to see $9 gas in California, or you're going to see $6, $7 gas in the United States, $10 gas in California. It's going to rise everywhere. It's going to rise everywhere. It just is over time, and there's going to be periods of low prices. The periods of low gas prices, and what a lot of people aren't understanding, is that right now we're kind of in a period of low gas prices. That's what they don't get because they're paying more than they used to. This is one of those periods of low. It's not going to get a whole lot better than this, is what I'm saying. This winter we could see gas $2.90 a gallon on a national average. And people will celebrate that. But that's going to be 50 cents a gallon higher than it would have been 5 years ago. So we're literally kind of already in a period of low prices. People just don't understand that as we move forward in time, prices are going to continue to rise. They just are. They just are. People think gas should be what it was in 1998 or some shit. I don't know why people think that, other than maybe they can't afford it. I don't know, but that's not how the world works. It's just not.
They don't understand that. They thought, here's what they thought. They thought if we didn't raise minimum wage federally, that nothing else would go up. Because you think about it, that's what they would say. Every time we would say raise minimum wage, they would say everything else will go up. You can't raise minimum wage. So they think that because we did not raise minimum wage, prices should not go up. They don't understand how things work. They don't understand how anything works, actually.
Yeah. So I think the minimum wage should be based on a formula. I don't know the formula, but take the cost of living in any state. So I live in Oklahoma. Cost of living is low. Take the cost of living, figure out what percentage of that cost of living minimum wage should be, and that's what the minimum wage should be. If the cost of living goes up, the minimum wage goes up. All right? And then you don't have to worry about hurting the small businesses with minimum wage, right? There's millions of small businesses across the country that have less than 5 employees. The businesses just barely put food on the table, and they typically pay somewhere around minimum wage to their 2, 3, 4 employees that they do have. I think you set the minimum wage based on cost of living, and then that gives some protection to those small businesses. If you put a $15 an hour minimum wage in Oklahoma, God knows how many small businesses would either go under or have to cut their staffing in half, right? But I think if you did it wisely, and they could adjust prices accordingly, I think it would work, right? everyone celebrated when, what was it, California raised their minimum wage to 15. A lot of people were celebrating. I don't know anybody in California that can live on $15 an hour in California. That's a very expensive place to live. $15 an hour in California is less than the federal minimum wage in Oklahoma. You could live on the federal minimum wage in Oklahoma before you could live on 15 in California. You could.
Yeah. Someone said, but you can get a job picking blueberries for $11 an hour in Louisiana. The comments on that post asking people to apply for that job, the comments on there were just gold. They were so gold.
So can you pick blueberries for 8 hours a day, 65 days a
Well,
year?
it's yeah, that's what they were saying. That's what it was every day, you know. But the comments were gold. They really
Yeah.
were. So our minimum wage is 7.25.
Yeah, so's ours. Our minimum wage is basically twice what I was earning as a 15-year-old kid working his first job. Yet the price of living or the cost of living is significantly more than twice as it was when I was a 15-year-old kid. My first house that I rented when I was 18 years old, my rent was $125 a month. That was my rent.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
120. It was a little shitty house, but you could have a home for $125 a month. My utilities were probably not even 100 with everything, all of it added up together. It was cheap to live.
right, right.
I earned a minimum wage, and I was single, of course, but I had no problem paying my bills, even only making, God, I can't remember what I was making at that time. It was low.
Yeah,
And I had two cars. Because, you know, 18-year-old single guy, you can't you can't have a Firebird or a Camaro. You need to have a Firebird and a Camaro, right?
that's funny.
You got to get both. And a lot of people are talking about the minimum wages in their states, and that's great. But there's always going to be states that aren't like those states that are going to continue to depress the minimum wage, like my state, Jill's state. The fact that that's still the minimum wage in Pennsylvania is insane because the cost of living in Pennsylvania has got to be exponentially
It's
higher than it is in Oklahoma.
it is high.
Yeah.
It Yeah, it's absolutely not a state for the poor. It's definitely not.
Did I buy my first car? I did buy my first car. It was a 1976. Was it? Yeah, a 1976 Buick LeSabre. I saved up my money. I worked in a grocery store. I worked for some farmers, like hauling hay, doing different things, and I paid $800 for my first car. And the first thing I did was I went to the dollar store and I bought a box of thumbtacks. Do you know what I needed those thumbtacks for, Jill?
To hold up the um thing on on the roof of the
Yeah,
car.
to hold up the headliner
The
that
headliner,
that
yeah,
had
to keep it
fallen
stuck.
and was sagging down into the car. Instead of
Yeah,
cutting it out, I bought thumbtacks and I pinned it up.
yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, a lot of people did that. A lot of Gen Xers did that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Juju said there are also more opportunities in a state like Pennsylvania. Nah, there's really not. Not at all, actually. It sucks here. Try to find a job here. It sucks.
Brad says he did that with his 78 Cutlass. My mom had a Cutlass. I think it was a 78 or 9 red Olds Cutlass. There was a lot of Cutlasses back then. Um, yeah, I'm getting a lot of comments. People saying they did that too. Why didn't we just take a box knife and cut the damn things out? What were we doing?
I don't know. Why didn't we?
I don't.
No,
That's
we've
so
done
dumb.
back to that.
We weren't that smart. And
We
just proof that evolution is a thing.
Oh, I know why we didn't cut it out. Because some people did, and it was that foam that would fall, and then you'd get out the car and it'd all be in your hair.
Yep,
That that's why we didn't cut it out. So actually, we were smarter than those who did cut it out.
that's right. A lot of those headliners had foam above them. That's why we didn't cut them out. My old 72 Scout, it has a cardboard. It has the original cardboard headliner in it. Um, well, it's like It's not cardboard. It's like that pegboard,
Yeah,
the pegboard that has all the holes in it. That's what my headliner is in my Scout. That's factory original.
nice. So, Karen said my daughter's moving to Pittsburgh in June. I have her nervous now. I'm sorry, Karen. Um, there are job opportunities in the city. So if she's moving close to the city or in the city, there's a little more opportunities there. And depends on what she does too. This is a like people don't understand that Pennsylvania, especially the Pittsburgh area, which is where I'm from, and the jobs are, what they are. What people don't understand is this is an old steel mill towns. These are old steel mill towns, and there is opportunities, but there isn't. It's the pays that people want to pay you because it is 7.25 an hour here for minimum wage. And they're not going to pay you 7.25 an hour if you have a degree. But here's the issue: if you have a degree, what you make $15 an hour. That's about what it is. That's the issue with Pennsylvania.
So Matt McManus had the 76 Monte Carlo with the big fenders on the front. I had a 76 Malibu Classic, which was almost identical to the Monte Carlo. It just had slightly smaller front fenders that had, the big fenders on the front. A little bit smaller version of the Monte Carlo. Uh, and MRI had the 78 Grand Prix, which I think the 78 Grand Prix still had the really long body style. Thing was like as long as a boat with the T-tops that always leaked. Um, the T-tops on a lot of those cars leaked really bad, which caused more damage to the headliner. But yeah, everyone's telling us about their late 70s models cars now on TikTok.
They are. Oh, and Juju, places will be cheaper to live when you move further away from the metro areas. That's not true either. There's a place not far from me. It has, you know, it's a dump. I just say it. I'll just say it. It's a complete dump. Complete dump. It's a two-bedroom, and one of the bedrooms you have to walk through to get to the other. It has one bathroom. It's um, it's just run down. It's some of the walls have holes in them. $1,000 a month. That's what they want for it. And you could be flooded right the hell out.
Can you say again which account is you? So this account on TikTok is me. This right here, Mr. Global 2 TOO, and Mr. Global 2.0. Those are my two accounts. One has 700 and I don't know, 55 or 60,000 followers. The other one has about 120,000. Those are my only two accounts. If anyone messages you, it's not me.
Also, there is another 2.0 that people are using, but look at the username below the picture. If it doesn't say Mr. Global 2.0 and it only says it above the picture, then that's not him.
Lucius had the Parisienne. I remember the Parisienne. It was a lot like it was kind of like a Delta 88, but the Delta 88 was a little different. But yeah, I remember the Parisienne.
Yeah, $1,000 a month is cheap too, but that's what I'm saying. It has to be a place that's falling apart to be 1,000,
Thank you
which
for the
is
gifts, Ella.
ridiculous. Oh, look at that. A cake.
Have you ever reached out to any politicians to provide your? I've spoken to my one of my senators here in Oklahoma, James Langford, a couple of times. Other than that, not really. I reached out to him. He did call me and talk to me. Um, but other than that, not much beyond that.
So Chuck, we were able to get it for $800 to about how long has Trump been president? 3, 4 months?
About 100 days.
Yeah, we used to be able to get it for $800 a month too back then. They have just recently rose the prices in my area.
I have a few small rental properties, and where I live, so my most expensive rental is 800 a month. It's a 3 bedroom house, but it's small. It's like it's about 1,000 square feet, and it's 800 a month. So those,
That isn't too bad.
yeah, but that's in Oklahoma, right?
That's probably what it would be in some of areas in Pennsylvania. But that's the thing, that these people are trying to raise their prices on the areas that were lower in Pennsylvania, right? 45 minutes from Pittsburgh. Like, what's his name? Say, I can't remember your name. I'm so sorry. But about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh, yes, it's about $800 a month. But that's the ones that are trying to raise the rundown houses to $1,000 a month. And I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know where they think that people are going to get this money when we're getting paid, the highest, probably $11 an hour. What'll
Yeah.
happen is somebody will rent that place. Think about this. This is exactly what will happen. Someone will rent that place. They'll take it, right? For about a month. Then when they can't afford the rent, they'll get evicted. And that happens a lot around here.
Where is gasoline $1.98 a month or a gallon a month? Nowhere. That's not it. It's not $1.98 a gallon. It's not $1.98 a month. It's not $1.98 nothing. Even the wholesale price of gasoline is higher than $1.98. Yeah, Donald Trump. He doesn't know what gas prices are. He didn't drive. He didn't buy gas. No, it's not the lowest average right now. I think it's a tie between Tennessee and Mississippi. 270 a gallon. Um, Now there may be some station out there. There may be some gas station running some special promotion sale type thing where they have $1.98 gas, but that's not a thing, right? And now the administration is, what did they say? They could manipulate space and time. Okay.
Right.
Just think about that, right? So who would say something so ridiculous? Where have we heard ridiculous claims about weapons before? Who have we heard that from? Who does that? Who talks that way?
About weapons?
Yes. Who makes exaggerated claims about the capabilities of their weaponry?
Well, that would be Trump.
No, I'm talking about before Trump. Who has done
Before
this
Trump?
historically? Right? Dictators do this. This is what dictators do. Vladimir Putin does this all the time. He's talking about the
Yeah.
unbelievable capabilities of their weapons, trying to make the whole world just be afraid of Russia, right? And now you have the Trump administration coming out and saying that they can alter space and time. When I heard that, I thought dictator. I thought Vladimir Putin. This is the kind of shit he would say.
Right.
They can't alter space and time.
Yeah.
They can't.
No.
How? Okay, you don't know what a tariff is, but you can alter space and time. You expect me to believe that?
He can't do anything that he expects you to believe.
Absolutely, Gerald. The Wonderwaffen, wonder weapons of the schmazzies.
Yes.
Yeah, this is historically what dictators have done. Come out and made unbelievable, exaggerated, hyperbolic claims about the weapons they have when they don't have shit. Now, I'm not saying that the United States doesn't have superior weaponry than other countries. I am sure they do. We spend 800, 900 billion dollars a year on something, so I'm sure we have some good stuff. But to say we bend space or alter space and time,
Why not?
can we go back in time and redo the election?
That would be wonderful. I mean,
What did you
just
do?
like,
I altered space and time. You're not the president anymore.
yes. Can we do that? Let's do it. Maybe if we wish really hard.
Trump wants to alter time to a point where he could still satisfy a woman, is my guess. And probably gonna have
No,
what?
that's
What?
not going to happen. It's never going to happen. He can't alter that time because he's never done it.
You don't think
How
he's
can you?
ever done it?
No,
Even
no,
even in his heyday?
no, no.
Poor guy. No wonder he's so angry.
I mean, that could be why he's so angry.
Yes, the mushroom. I guess we could ask. Well, no, we did ask somebody, didn't we?
Well, somebody actually just told us. We didn't ask.
Stormy?
Yes.
Stormy told us.
Yes, she did.
Is it true that China has come forward to make a tariff deal with the United States? I have no idea. Have you heard anything about that, Jill?
No.
I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know if it's true or false. I doubt we would know. Maybe, maybe we wouldn't know until it happened. I don't know.
I
What
mean, wasn't
did?
Trump saying that China wanted to make a deal if they wanted to? Well, I think he said if they wanted to, he would talk to them.
Yeah.
I think that's what he said.
Well, one thing I did read, China kind of took the same strategy that Canada did, and told the Trump administration, if you want to negotiate, the first thing that has to happen is your people have to shut the fuck up. Quit running your mouth, right? That's basically what they told him. Quit running your mouth, and we'll negotiate. Donald Trump wants all this to be done publicly, in front of everyone, so his fan base, so all of his fanboys can cheer it on, right? Um,
Right.
but it's just like when Carney told Trump, we'll talk when you shut the fuck up. That's when we'll talk. And what happened? Donald Trump shut the fuck up, didn't he? Yes, he did. Because that's how this stuff is supposed to be done. This is supposed to be done, right? These world leaders are negotiating trade deals. That's not supposed to be a public spectacle where you come out and trash the people you're negotiating with. That's not how this stuff happens, and it's certainly not a good way to make any progress.
Right.
I still think if people in the United States had never known anything about this and Trump handled this the way any normal person would handle it, this would all be over with already. He could have made all these trade deals without anyone knowing about it, and then come out and made an announcement after the fact, said, hey, we got some new trade deals, you know. But he didn't do that. He came out and he tried to drag every country in the world through the mud, called them all kinds of names, gin up as much hate as possible from Americans towards these countries, so he could remain in the spotlight. If Donald Trump has to do things in the spotlight so he can get that satisfaction, right? He's not satisfied by doing something good for the country. He's satisfied by the attention he gets for doing things.
Yes.
It's not about doing good things for the country. It's about him looking good in public. That's what it's all about. So we'll see.
We'll see for sure.
Another person in his headset not talking to himself.
They can't hear me, can they?
No, they can't hear you.
TikTok sucks ass, and everyone in there does.
Did you hear that, big guy? Uh, Trump said gas was $1.98. What state? It's not. Gas isn't $1.98 anywhere.
Oh shit, they can hear me.
They can?
Some of them can, yeah. I've seen someone else say that I was at like long distance sounding.
So look, at this point, if Donald Trump says something and your question to me is, hey, Donald Trump said this, is it true? 99.99% of the time, you know the answer to that question. But
That's funny.
that was definitely false. Not $1.98 anywhere in any state. Not a thing.
So, Stephen, you're on YouTube. I'm not telling you what I really think. I was telling the people on TikTok.
Maybe Steven's on TikTok too.
Okay, you can hear. See, some of them can hear. I knew they could though before I said that. That's why I did it, of course.
So last night I was out, okay? And I hope I see this person again because it's kind of a this lady approaches me and she has one of the staff at this establishment that I was at walk her up to me. This person like escorts her up to me. And I'm sitting in a chair and she leans down and she says, "Hey, what are you doing?" I have no idea who this person is. This random stranger walks up to me and I look and this person is very nervous, kind of shaking a little bit. And that made me nervous.
Yeah, that would
Like,
make me nervous
I
too.
thought, this person is about to tell me something I don't want to hear. You know what I mean? This person came to me, looked like they were about to give me some really bad news. I don't know. Like, is my truck on fire out in the parking lot? Like, I don't know what this person's about to tell me. And I said, yeah, can I help you? And she says, I just want you to know I'm your biggest fan. I follow you on TikTok. And I was like, I was so thrown off by this person's nervousness and the way they approached me that I was just kind of like, what? Like, that's it? Like, because I was preparing myself to hear something insane.
You're preparing yourself to hear the worst.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay.
Oh my god.
And they walk off. And then I was like, shit. That didn't happen how I meant for that to happen. So normally I'm like, thank you. Normally I say thank you or, whatever. But it was such a weird and awkward sort of little brief conversation. Um, because you can ask Jill, I'm not famous and I don't like being famous, or I don't like when people think I'm famous because they treat me differently, right? I'm no different than anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm just the guy with the camera on him right now. But it was just so weird. And then so I know the guy that like escorted her up to me and she left and he comes up to me and he's like, "What's all that about?" So this guy that I know doesn't know who I am on the internet.
Oh, that's funny.
He just knows me because I frequent that establishment, this restaurant. And he's like, "What was all that about?" He was like, "Are you famous?" And I just laughed and I said, "No, I'm on the internet, but." And he's like, "That lady was freaking out. Like she came up to me and he was telling me this." And I'm like, "Dude, you know, people walk up to me sometimes, but they don't act like that. They just say hi, I like your stuff, and I thank them. I answer a question or two. We talk for a minute. But
Right.
it was just a weird thing. And I said, "Well, do you know where she went?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I said, "I would like to go find her because I felt like I didn't come across to her right. But she freaked me out." Like, I really thought there was some terrible news coming the way she approached me. I have to tell you something, you know. I'm like, holy shit, what is this? The worst thing you can tell a guy is there's something you need to talk to them about, right?
Right.
Jill, if your husband comes home from work and you say, hey, I need to talk to you about something, he is going to shit his pants.
I'm going to do it.
I'm just telling you, that makes a guy nervous, especially when it's a wife. Hey, we need to talk about something. Holy shit, what have I done? Because guys do things all the time and they have no idea they did something wrong because we're guys, right? We don't. That's just how we're wired. I can't explain it. So if you want to mess with your husband, Jill, when he comes home, you should say, hey, I need to talk to you about something, like real matter of fact, and just watch him squirm. He's going to squirm. Unless he's different than every other guy on the planet.
Oh, I'm sure he's not. He's going to squirm.
And then let him squirm for a minute and just say, gotcha.
And Lori gave you a super chat just for hearing the story. Thank you, Lori,
Oh, Lori,
for the
thank you
super
so
chat.
much. Thank you for the super chat, Lori. Bruiser is probably calling Zombie Church bingo. Is that a thing? Zombie Church bingo?
Zombie church bingo. Yes.
Yes, Dying Breed. Dying Breed says, I went to a hobby shop a couple of years ago and the owner knew me because he followed me on YouTube. It was nice, but a strange feeling. Right. It's kind of weird. It is. I don't get approached that often. Um, Maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, someone will walk up to me and say, hey, but how they approach you kind of sets the stage for how weird it can be. And sometimes you know they're going to approach you because they're staring at you for a while before they do. And you're like, oh shit, they recognize me from wherever. But
Yes.
yeah.
And he does hate it. He does. So when I have my lives, I post it only for regulars to come in up in the box, right? Because I always say to him, I set it at that because you let somebody up there and they'd be like, "Oh my God, it's Mr. Global!" Because they're screenshotting the fact that they were in the same room as him. But so yeah, it's
Oh
time
boy.
for time for me to remind people to like and share the feed.
Yeah. Like and share.
Like and share, everyone. You want
Tell
me to
us,
type it?
sure, if you want. Tell us about the 90% drop in sales to China, please. So it's not really a 90% drop. That's the thing. That's the biggest piece of misinformation in that story from the Midas touch. It's not a 90% drop. There was 1 month in June of 2023 where they purchased a lot of oil from us, over 30 million barrels. It was an outlier. It was 1 month almost 2 years ago. So it's not a 90% drop. They typically purchase 4 or 5 million barrels a month from us, sometimes as little as 2. So what they're saying is that since they purchased 3 million barrels from us last month, that it's a 90% drop. It's not a 90% drop. It's not. They looked at 1 month 2 years ago where China purchased a lot of oil from us for some reason, right? Something. And they're calling that a 90% drop. Now, had China purchased 30 million barrels a month from us consistently at all, like even a few times, but it's not a 90% drop. It is a complete fabrication and a lie to make a story more sensational and hyperbolic than it is. Now, with all that being said, they are likely to go to zero when they purchase oil from us, because this is what China does when we get into these spats with them. They stop buying our oil, they stop buying our natural gas. That's our largest export. That's our most valuable export, is our oil and gas. So they probably will go to zero. They've already done it with LNG. And when they do that, it will be, no matter how you cut it, it's going to be a 100% drop when they eventually do that. But it's such a small amount of oil. 3 million barrels a month is nothing. It's nothing. It's less than we export to the whole world in an entire day. It's it's a drop in the bucket. So, like, even if they stopped completely, it wouldn't mean anything. You know, it's a symbolic thing, but it wouldn't mean anything to oil prices or oil companies in the United States. You know, when we're exporting way over 100 million barrels a month, you know, probably 120 to 30 million barrels a month that we export out across the world. That 3 million barrels isn't nothing, right? It's nothing. We'll just send it somewhere else. But it's a lie. It really is a lie. Also, the chart that they use in that video isn't current. It's over a year old. And they're pointing at things that are happening, that were happening a year ago, and saying it was happening today. It's a lie.
And yes, Bruiser, he brought up the zombie bingo. That's what you missed. You're not supposed to walk away. And and Tim says, you missed me talking shit to TikTok. So I mean, you know,
Shit talker.
what should I try out? The zombie bingo?
I don't know. When they go to zero, will prices rise or lower? Prices won't do anything because it's not enough oil to matter. You know, prices won't do anything. Someone else will buy the oil. China will get their other oil from someone else. It won't do anything to prices.
Yeah, you missed it, Bruiser. Someone commented saying that about him wearing a headset talking to himself. So I was like, oh, they can't hear me over there? So I said, TikTok sucks ass. So do people in it. But, you know, I knew they could hear me, so I was joking.
Where's Hoto?
Um,
Is
I don't know.
is Hoto around?
I call him Dano.
Dano?
Yeah. Oh no, not you, Dano. That's in the chat.
Yeah, it's not that Dano. It's a different Dano.
I just realized that there was one in the YouTube chat.
That Dano reminded me of Hoto. That's why I brought up Hoto. I saw Dano.
Okay, I didn't see Dano. I wasn't talking about you, just so you know.
Uh, Daniel Hoto is a troll that's been in my comment section apparently.
Arguing with me and other people.
How much did I make in the stock market dip? I don't know. I haven't looked. I did buy something, but I didn't spend a lot of money. No, I didn't YOLO the stock market when Trump crashed it. I don't.
You didn't do um any of that shit.
When is my next podcast with Hawk? I don't know. But Monday I'll have Brando, Tennessee Brando will be here on the YouTube live.
Yeah, Dano, you don't want to be that Dan. You don't want to be him. I'm hoping he comes into the TikTok so I can block him.
Who? Hoto?
Him. Yeah.
He's from Longview. I'm sure he knows his last name is Hoto and what that means.
Oh, I'm sure he knows what that means.
Oh, Daniel. Thank you, Dante. Sorry if my message doesn't make sense. I'm Scottish and it lands differently. I don't think I saw anything that didn't make sense.
I don't think he's gonna do all that.
Well, I mean, he's not within arm's reach of me. Not something I normally have to do, though. They usually back up when they see me. Hello, California Rebel. How are you?
Nice.
Look at Bruiser. Who's getting punched? She has to know. Who's getting
Nobody's
punched?
getting punched.
Nobody's getting punched.
Nobody's getting punched.
Mr. Global, just tell me Canada is going to survive. Yes, Canada is going to be fine. We're the ones that are fucked. You guys will be fine.
Yeah, just get out and vote. Or else you'll end up just like us.
Yeah, don't be like us. Don't be like us. Although, I don't know that much about the candidates in Canada. I don't know that much about them, but the little bit I do know about them, I don't feel like they're like Trump.
So, PP is.
Well, he may agree with Trump on some things, but I don't view him like Trump. Trump's crazy. Trump wants to be a dictator. I haven't seen that
Oh yeah, he
out
definitely
of
does.
Polyev. He is conservative, of course, but I don't think he would be deporting Canadian citizens. Um, you know what I mean? I could be wrong about the guy. I just haven't seen that from him.
Yeah, like people in Canada are saying, we think he would. He is fully on the far right.
We think he would. Well, I mean, you know the guy better than me. I haven't.
I'm just going off of what Canadians say
Yeah,
about him.
yeah. It's easy to compare a Canadian leader to a U.S. leader, um, and I could be completely wrong about it. I'm just saying I haven't seen anything from that guy that would scare me to death the way the things Donald Trump does scares me to death. You know,
So look what Bruiser just said.
you got to be, yeah. Just being a conservative in itself doesn't make a person a dictator.
So do you see what
Well,
Bruiser said? He discussed deporting illegals yesterday. Same rhetoric. He's also supported by far right.
right.
So I don't know. Trump made a lot of people a little weird.
So Dying Breed wants to know, have I ever seen Big Chief from Street Outlaws in Oklahoma or any of the other guys that were on that show? So Dying Breed, Sean Ellington was my roommate in college. Sean Ellington, I went to high school with Sean Ellington. For those of you that don't know who Sean Ellington is, he's the guy that drives the Murder Nova. He was my roommate in college. I've known him my whole life. We were friends in high school. He was an All American baseball player. And what a lot of people don't know about Sean, he was probably going to go to the big leagues. He was probably going to play in the majors, baseball. At one time, he held the home run record in the state of Oklahoma for high schoolers. Um, he dropped out of college to street race. He was an All American, full ride, dropped out of college to street race. Everyone thought he was nuts. The dude had been street racing since he was like 12 years old, though. His dad owned a body shop in our little town, and they built hot rods, and he street raced when he was a little kid. Like 12, 13 years old. He was street racing. So, yeah, I know Sean very well. I don't know Big Chief hardly at all, but I know Sean very well. And everyone thought had lost his mind dropping out of college to go street race, but it worked out for him. It worked out for him. So. I met Sean a few times, and he seemed like a very genuine guy and was always very nice. Yeah, Sean is very genuine, super nice. He's a great guy. He really is. Super nice guy. Deserves all the success he's had. And he went broke. He went broke a couple of times street racing. One time he went broke and he quit street racing and he went to work for a power line company here where we live. He worked for this power line company for a few years, probably 3 years. Learned the business and started his own power line company. That became pretty successful and it managed to finance his street racing operations. So
Oh my God.
he started his own company and made a bunch of money so he could pay for his street racing. And he went back to street racing and met Big Chief. And it was Big Chief's idea for the reality show. That was a Big Chief thing that he got done. But, once that reality show hit, once Street Outlaws hit, it was all over after that. It was a huge hit. So he obviously got out of his power line company. But if you watch the very early episodes of Street Outlaws and the first year, all those guys, Sean and the guys that hung around Sean, they're all wearing a t-shirt. And that t-shirt that they're all wearing was the t-shirt that his Powerline company had. It has his Powerline company's logo on it and everything. That's what they're all wearing in that first season is t-shirts from his Powerline company. They would go to places where there was disasters, bad storms, Katrina, and they would help rebuild and restore power to those areas. And he made I think he made a fortune doing that. I don't know how much money he made, but one of those cars is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, so he must have made a lot of money to pay for that. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Well, the weather around me is now 84. It is 84 degrees.
Weather's pretty nice here today too. It's really windy yesterday. He had a three-legged dog. Weird how memory works. You always remember the people that had three-legged dogs. You ever notice that?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Well, at least you remember the three-legged dog.
So dying breed, I've heard that. So the original guys that originally were the original cast members of Street Outlaws. I don't know all of them. Another guy that lives here in the town I live in is Shane McAlery, and he was on the show. I don't think he's on the show anymore. I quit watching it a while back, but I know Shane. He had Bob. Shane had a Bob. It was a dummy that rode in the car with him. His name was Bob. Uh, that's
Of course it was named Bob.
I can't make this up. It's a true story. Um, but yeah, all those original guys are all very grounded, worked their way up from the bottom. The guys that come in later to the show were guys that basically had a lot of money as kids and had their stuff financed for them and kind of rich kid type people. Some of those guys I heard were real assholes, but I didn't meet all of them. I didn't meet those guys, but I heard the same thing that you're saying. They were kind of assholes. Didn't surprise me one bit. If you remember, a few years ago, Sean left the show. Um, and we sold Sean a house for his mother. He bought his mom a new home, and we sold it to her, or sold it to Sean for his mother. He left the show because Discovery wanted to write a script for every episode, and wanted all of the people on the reality show to read off a script. Right? He left. He quit the show because of that. Um, and then they changed their mind, so he would come back. Because he said, it's a reality show, I'm not reading a script. And he just quit. So.
I never remember the two-legged dog stuff.
Three-legged dog.
No, he said weird. I never remember the two-legged dog stuff.
I don't either. I just assumed nobody had a two-legged dog.
Well, some of them have them wheelchairs for
I
the
know.
dogs, right?
Yeah, they got the little Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Hey, Hot Wheels. The mechanical shark's name in the movie Jaws was named Bruce. Really?
Yes. Yes.
I know a wonky donkey. You may be right about that Scottish thing not landing, because I don't know what that means. I don't know what a wonky donkey is. And now I'm hearing that with a Scottish accent. That's cracking me up. I know a wonky donkey. A donkey with three legs. Oh, okay. I've never seen a three-legged donkey. Donkeys are already
I've
kind of
never
angry.
either.
Yeah, donkeys are mean. They really are. Um, I feel like a three-legged donkey would be really mean, but he wouldn't be as fast as a four. You could probably get away from him. Oh man, it's been a pretty good Good Friday.
Yeah, it's not been a bad Friday. Good Friday at all. It's been pretty good.
What do you call a deer with no eyes? I don't know.
What?
I don't know what you call a deer with no eyes.
Who said it?
No idea. Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God.
That joke would hit really well with a Scottish accent. I said it with my Oklahoma accent, so it probably didn't sound right, but no idea. No idea. No idea.
No idea.
What do you call a deer with no eyes and no legs? Who are we talking to? I have no idea. I have no idea.
No idea.
Still no idea. Oh, because he doesn't move. Yeah, they're still. They have no legs. Okay, that's fantastic. I gotta
God.
look at this. I gotta look at this. I just got a weird notification.
What you get?
So the White House posted the headline. So there was a New York Times headline that said Senator
Uh-huh.
meets with wrongly deported Maryland man in El Salvador.
Right.
And so the White House took that article and they took a red Sharpie and they crossed out the word wrongly and Maryland man. So it says Senator meets with deported in El Salvador.
Oh wow. So people are using that and sharing the case about that woman and ah,
So I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but
I'm trying to think of her name now. I can't think of her name for some reason. Anyhow, they're sharing information about her daughter who was because I guess well we aren't on TikTok. You're on pause on TikTok, by the way.
yeah. So
Oh wow.
that's what they did. They crossed out the words they didn't agree with and they posted it on social media.
So anyway, the woman whose daughter was unalived by an immigrant, which they called her, because it's Fox News, they called her illegal. They called him illegal or whatever. Anyhow, people are sharing that around to spread their narrative of immigrants and the lies. They're sharing the lies and they're sharing the. Is that not? Is that? That's gross. That's gross.
What's gross?
That they're sharing, they're using this person's tragedy to spread their lies and to spread their narratives, right?
Oh, I see.
They're using that person's tragedy to do it.
Yeah.
It's gross. They're going to burn in hell for that. I mean,
Whoa.
since they believe in it, right? That's what's going to happen. They're going to
Whoa.
burn in hell for it.
Whoa. You said that on Good Friday.
I did.
Um,
I did. I absolutely did. Because they are.
honestly, when you said something was gross, I just looked right at the chat because I thought maybe Bruiser had commented on something.
No, no, Bruce, I wouldn't call that gross. I would laugh.
I thought, what did she do now? Freaking troublemaker. Uh,
That's funny.
is that the same Sharpie that we made the weather map with?
No, because that one was a black Sharpie, I believe, but it's
Ah, yeah,
still a Sharpie.
yeah. It was probably next to the black Sharpie in the package.
So they use people's tragedy to spread their lies and their narratives, right? They do it with veterans, and now they're doing it with this woman. Like, can they stop already?
No, they gotta do that.
And I agree, Dying Breed. It's evil. It is. It's 100% evil. Why would you do that?
Politics is evil.
It's not right. That's just my opinion.
I did read that the shooter in Florida yesterday was a member of Charlie Kirk's Turning Point group that travels the country going to colleges. Don't know how accurate that is. I did read that though.
Trying to think of what other news was out there today.
Well, I mean, he's alive, right? We found out he's alive.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I've probably been asked 100 times if I thought he was alive or not. I think I said he might not be. I don't remember what I said. I know I didn't say he was dead. A lot of people were saying he was dead because they are hiding him, right? And especially when they wouldn't let the senators see him, that definitely raised suspicions. But for whatever reason, they decided to let the guy see him and meet him and talk to him. Probably because everyone was saying he was dead.
Because everyone was saying, yep.
Yeah. So that's got to be good news, right? The guy's alive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I mean, it obviously doesn't fix anything, but
Now bring him back.
I did not see that. The El Salvador government put margaritas on the table to make it seem like they were drinking booze. I didn't see that. Mm, wow. Okay. Thank you, Dan Black. That's weird because we were talking about margaritas yesterday, I think.
We were.
Because I think I said I never had one.
Yes, Juju, he got to see him. And I thought so too, Christine. I thought he was too.
Garcia's had less in the glass.
My God. Was it like actually water? And Garcia was probably thirsty.
I have no. I don't know anything about this. I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know. All right. Well, let's wrap it up, Jill. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, me too.
So don't forget, Monday is the live with Tennessee Brando. I need to text him. Link in bio on TikTok for t-shirts. Thanks everyone for your support with the t-shirts, by the way. Jill?
Thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Yeah.